Watching Ruck and Roll Rugby, and we're back with another one. Guys, I've heard a lot of your comments which has asked me to look at the audio, especially the podcast we know about. We just got to get Leap a headset there. I hear you, and obviously mine also. There's a bit, they say the sound's too loud with the videos, or my voice is too loud and the videos I react to is too soft. We will be looking at that, but for today, I'm going to be reacting to Matt Williams come down hard on South Africa about the 7-1 bench split. Give me some time. Let's just hear what he's got to say about this.
Forwards on one back incident from the bench. No, it's within the rules that Razzie and Jack Nainabar are using. I don't want you to kick off fully here, Matt, but you were saying that there needs to be a change there, do you believe?
Matt, if I could say kick off fully, it's been a while since you've been trending on social media channels, so kick off fully. Go.
So by the way, they knew exactly what they were doing when they were doing this podcast. They knew it would, kind of go viral in a way, in the sense of more of the reactions that people will have on it. And obviously from a Springbok supporter perspective, it is really, to me, the rugby world, there's a lot of guys who likes to create a narrative where if everything falls in your favor, you are happy. But as soon as you're being outsmarted by a coaching team that came up with a plan that worked, then you want to kind of be like a baby about it. But anyway, let's keep going.
Mate, you know me, mate. I only have two speeds, play out and stop, mate. There's no third gear. There's no third gear.
Just teeing you up there, Matt.
Mate, look, just so everyone knows, the bench was put in places. In the old days, you had 15. If you got injured, bad luck. Right, then they put a bench in. But what teams ended up doing was they might play, say, Allen's on the bench as a back rower and a prop got hurt. They were putting back rowers into the front row, and guys were getting hurt. So this whole bench issue was a safety issue. It's the same with the back three, same with scrum halves, getting tackled, at the breakdown, getting hurt. This was a safety issue.
I mean, let me just say, yes. In the olden days, we also used to play with a leather rugby ball, and, there was no rules half the time. Guys could actually punch each other on the field. There was loads of stuff that was allowed, like a call when you play the British and Irish Lions and everyone just start punching each other that they break noses. But you want to use this comparison? I don't know, mate. Keep going.
To have a bench. And what South Africa have done is abused player safety issue and put a whole pack on the bench. And it's against the spirit of the game, and it's against those safety rules. Now, World Rugby should have seen this coming, because for years, teams, not just South Africa, France as well, been picking a 6-2 bench, and it should never have been allowed to get to this.
Okay, hold on. So he's trying to play down on the player safety thing, because obviously there's all the reviews these days for high tackles and whatever, and now he wants to say because it was a 7-1 split on the bench, there's too many forwards and it's dangerous. Do you know you're watching rugby here? That is the idea, to outmuscle, outsmart, outplay the other team. Quite often you'd find that the All Blacks in the last game outmuscled the Springboks with a forward pack. They did. In the Rugby Championship, they outplayed the Springboks in the first 20. Now the whole world's up in arms. Not the whole world, but a lot of these so-called rugby pundits, which is a shame that they talking out like this, that they want to go back and create narratives that suit them. Yeah, let's keep going.
All World Rugby had to say was 3 of your bench have to be recognised backs. That's all they had to do, and this problem would not be there. What South Africa did the other day.
I mean, this guy's past retirement. To be honest, how do you want to still be talking like this? If you want to be giving comments, I've got no problems with pundits that's got experience, that knows what they're talking about. But come on, who are you now talking like? Literally, you're telling me that someone in World Rugby's got to assess if this is what type of bench player it is. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But yeah.
I think it's totally against the spirit of the game, and certainly totally against player safety. Right, so I am
Come
I'm
on.
totally against this.
Yeah, we've been playing the 6-2 split right through the last World Cup. You know, there he's mentioned so many other teams. France have done it. Ireland's done it. So many teams have played the 6-2 split, including the All Blacks. Just because we've put one extra player on the Springboks this weekend, making it a 7-1, suddenly now it's safety for the players, and I don't know what kind of all garbage excuses because you are not happy. That's for the coaching staff to decide. It's got absolutely nothing to do with player safety. It's got everything to do with the coaching staff having the freedom. Whatever you want to put on that bench in your 8 players is your choice. It's not, there's no rules. There's never been rules. And it's ridiculous to say there's got to be rules and that, you know, relates to player safety. It's absolute cuck. And you know what cuck means? That's Afrikaans word. I can't say that word because of YouTube, but I can tell you it's excrete. It's excrete. It's human feces, what's being said here. I can't believe that people would even come up with these kind of, in my opinion, just excuses to justify, you know, them not wanting a really, because there's fear in the strong front pack from the Springboks, and now looking for all kinds of excuses to say, oh, it shouldn't be allowed.
And I think I would hope, and I don't believe this will happen, World Rugby should act in the next week and say, during the World Cup, you need 2 recognised backs on your bench. Problem over. But the fact that they haven't, South Africa are not breaking any rules.
No, exactly.
That needs to be stopped right now. Because what's going to happen
right now,
is exactly what happened on Saturday. You know, the outside backs, they should have bought tickets in the stand because they were just spectators. South Africa played the game between their forwards and their scrum half. You know, they've got quality backs.
By the way, that's a risk-reward game. Say, for instance, they picked that 7-1, which, by the way, was a late decision because Willie Leroux wasn't in good shape. So they took him out, and then made that decision for the 7-1 split. Now, yes, they could have put another back on, but they probably thought, you know, the way Ninabe and Rassie thinks. They try and think outside the box. So they said, hey, you know what, this is not a World Cup game yet. Let's try a 7-1. That could have totally backfired on them, you know. They could have had two players. They could have had some cards in the back line. They could have had some players injured in the back line. And then what did they do? They also knew they were going into a war. It was just as much a risk for them, and it could have totally backfired, you know. So
this is not a problem. They've got quality players right across the team. But it is not the way the game should be played, nor is it in the spirit of the game. So that's the first part. The second part of that is they are opening themselves up to karma. And believe me, there is karma in rugby. Karma means...
Keep telling yourself these kind of things, mate. Come on.
If you only got one back on your bench and you get two injuries or
100%.
a send-off,
100%.
You're in serious trouble.
100%. But there's something you missed because you're not interested in hearing what the Springbok coach have got to say after the game. Because it's better to, you know, just be kind of jumping on your bandwagon there. Is that Jog Ninabe said that will not be something that he'll do often. Put everything in context. This was still a warm-up game. They experimented with something new. And you know what? If they want, they can again. Because there is no rule around that. Yes, Rassie was a water boy. It looks ridiculous. Oh, so what? So what? At the end of the day, though, there's rules that you cannot break, which Springbok Rugby always respect. And don't get me wrong, everyone... The Springboks sometimes will try and do, you know, off-camera, sneaky little things to try and manipulate the game, but so does the All Blacks. Coming in from side of the rucks, all those kind of things, they all do it. It's not one player or the other. The captain's trying to manipulate the refs. It's all part of rugby. That's all part of the game. That's why we love it. You know, it's tactical games, it's mind games. So, absolute garbage. That you know, what's just been said here by this guy. I can't believe what I heard, and it's ridiculous when you look at the bigger picture and you say to yourself, what about adapting to the new game? This is not the 1950s. Things have changed. We don't play with leather balls anymore. So get with the times, you know. Tomorrow, you know, Eddie Jones comes with something new. You know, Foster maybe comes with another new tactic. There is so many tactics being introduced into rugby every year to give you that advantage. That's part of the game. That's part of the chess game. Now, it really, really disappoints me, guys, when I'm looking at these pundits that should be, you know, fair commentators and take losses, you know, put it in perspective and say, guys, we lost this one because we were outplayed, we were outsmarted on the day, and let's move on. Instead, there's excuses upon excuses. You know, sorry to say, I know I got a lot of All Blacks fans. When I watch the breakdown, Goldie as well, you know, coming up with, yeah, the Springboks are slowing down the ball. Guys, I've told you all along, that's Springbok rugby. They're going to want to slow down the ball, because if they speed up the ball, that's to the advantage of the All Blacks, because the All Blacks are a backline, fast, running type team. I'm not saying their forwards are not good, but they're much more focused to match you up front, but then run you out the back. So obviously they want to speed the ball up. That's for the Springboks to counter that. This is a chess game. They got to counter that by slowing the ball down. All the penalties that was given, a lot of that was just ill discipline from the All Blacks. And Hansen said that, yeah, but, you know, this is just a problem because if you slow down the ball, you give all the lines, the back lines, a chance to reset, and there's no ways through there. Come on. There's been solid defenses. There's always a way through. If you run straight, if you can get your offloads out, if you play with a forward pack that's right there by the breakdown, which the All Blacks was, and every time that they got tackled, they weren't quick enough to the breakdowns. Stop looking for excuses. That's all I will say, guys. Let's watch rugby. We're all fair about it, and when you lose, you lose. When you win, you win. This of blaming the ref, blaming the you know, all kinds of, like, there's always going to be these 50-50 calls. There's always going to be things that you'll see out of your perspective as a fan that you feel, oh, that's a bit unfair. That should have been for us. That call wasn't fair towards us. But you somehow turn a blind eye to all the little things that, you know, your team doesn't do right. That your team, you know, so let's all just watch the game and take your losses like a man. Move on. And go to the next game and improve. Come back harder. Come with a new plan. And then we can all love the rugby. But it is super frustrating for me when I have to listen to guys like this come up with all these kind of excuses before World Cup to say, or I think actually just ancient thinking that in today's day and age, we got to go back to some qualified bench where someone's going to assess who is allowed to be on the bench and all this stuff, just in favor of your narrative. The bench is there to be used whenever you want. How you want to pick it is up to you, and it's been like that forever. So this guy's, to me, totally in the ancient times, and it's a shocker that I have to still hear things like this in today's day and age by rugby pundits that we're trying to watch on TV, that's supposed to be giving fair commentary and, you know, objective commentary to kind of give us why the guys lost in a sense of a strategical and analytical view of why they lost. I don't go around and cry when the All Blacks beat the Springboks. We take it as rugby fans on the chin. The Springboks have had to take a lot of losses in the last 2-3 years. You know, I'm taking it on the chin, and so should all good rugby fans. When your team loses, stop looking for excuses. Let's get back to the game. Enjoy it. Respect each other. And if you were outboxed in a boxing match and you were knocked out, stop looking for excuse to say the gloves was too big, you were playing dirty, you were tiring me out on this way, you were manipulating the rules. You got knocked out. That's it. End of story. Just take your loss and move on. Anyway, guys, off my soapbox. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're still watching my videos and you like this, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.